Campfire Council. Thunderhands speaks. ABC. All bases covered. GTG. Good to go. See, these are things that you have to know, things that I teach, things that the Campfire Council teaches, things that I teach others in the Campfire Council to teach others. And it encompasses all kinds of things. ABC, all bases covered. Now that means everything is covered on all kinds of levels. And we're talking about spiritual warriorship and physical warriorship. And so the things that you have to learn to fit into that category, ABC, acronym, GTG, good to go. Unless you know these things and you get into a survival situation on any level, I don't care if it's somebody attacking you or being in nature or somebody messing with you on a spiritual level or any level, you need to know this stuff. And I teach it, and that's what I'm all about. Now, it's a variety of different things, so let's just break it down here so that you'll understand a little bit more clearly. Now, when I teach somebody, let's say I teach a martial arts class, or I teach a survival class, or I teach or seminar, whatever you want to call it, or I teach a spiritual class, survival, martial arts, everything that has to do with being self-sufficient and having self-protection, protecting self and others in all form of environments. And it starts off with the three basic things are, well, the first thing that is going to come up is being attuned to nature, being able to live with nature, being able to survive in nature, being able to track like an Apache tracker, being able to think like an Apache tracker, being able to see, hear, camouflage, make fires, make shelter, cache food, weapons, or whatever. Cache meaning hide. Take care of yourself on a martial arts level. See, now this combines East and West. I combine East and West. I combine Eastern philosophy in the sense of, well, several different senses as far as like combative martial arts, that sense, the healing sense with the acupuncture points on the body and massage and healing, self-healing. And most of the martial arts that I teach are a combination of things, and I'll just break it down real quick. Soi Li Ho Fut Hung, okay? That's Chinese. And it stands for 5 families, not 5 animals frolicking around, but 5 families as in triad, as in before triad, as in monastery, passed down through the triad. Then I teach SCARS, or a version of it, which stands for Special Combat Aggressive Reactionary Systems, which is a system that was taught to the Navy SEALs, hand-to-hand combat. So you combine that with the aforementioned Chinese art and other arts such as Aikido and Tai Chi And then you combine that with meditation and factors that come into meditation that affect, let's say, the martial aspect, like proximity factor and somatic holding, re-education. Okay, and then I'm going through this stuff real quick here. Splatter vision is a part of the tracking Apache technique of seeing in a 365, hearing, seeing, feeling in a 365-degree fashion. Fox walking, learning how to walk correctly, not clomping along like some elephant or giraffe, but more like a tiger or panther. Then we have spiritual aspects that come off that or are hooked up to it. Again, meditation, kriya, movement of energy, circulation of the microcosmic orbit, movement of energy, tantra, movement of energy, opening up the chakras, expanding the aura, expanding the senses through the aura. In other words, going into what we call power, what the Apache called receiving power from the natural sources, and the spirits of the land or the ancestral spirits. Raising consciousness, but still being able to operate with one foot in the physical world and one foot in the spiritual world. That's how we operate here, folks. That's how we should operate. One foot in the spiritual, one foot in the physical. Above the duality, within the duality. Outside the duality, inside the duality. So when I teach somebody something like, say, again, the martial arts, I include all of these things. Sensory awareness, being in presence, not living in the moment, being in presence, feeling, seeing, hearing, extrasensory perception, how to track somebody to you, how to drive somebody away with energy, how to think outside the envelope, how to survive in the wilderness. I'm going to keep repeating this stuff. Taking care of oneself and one's family on the street in a threatening situation. And as an example, a city breaking down and people going berserko, running around killing, raping, pillaging. You having to go to an outside area into nature and protecting yourself at the same time. Weaponry. How to dismantle and break down a weapon and reassemble it. How to make a weapon. How to make a knife out of nothing, out of nature. How to go out in nature and make your own knife, own weapons for survival, say like for taking down a small rabbit or game. How to build a fire, how to build a debris hut, how to follow tracks, how to see sign. Sign meaning signs on the ground, footprints, animal tracks, animal scat. How to survive in an urban environment if it goes all to hell, into little bitty pieces. Okay, now these are all things that I teach. Now I can teach parts of these things, or I can teach all of these things at once, which I like to do. I like to encompass all things at once. I like to throw a lot of things at people when I'm giving them personal instruction. Okay? And I don't teach these things not knowing what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for years. Hell, I can even teach you how to fly an airplane, because I'm a pilot also. Want to get out of town quick? Jump in an airplane. Better know how to fly it, though. Want to defend yourself on the street if somebody comes up and attacks you? Learn how to use every appendage on your body as a weapon and take their appendages and use them as weapons against them, against themselves. Thinking in a distinct manner, thinking before you move, thinking in a chess-like manner, or there's a game called Go in Japan which is beyond 6 stages beyond chess. Reading relevant books, taking in information. Things that I have been studying years and years and years. Okay, and you see this Q here? That's called a Q. That's my hair. For each little knot in that braid, I got news for you. It's probably filled full of knowledge from 1 year. How many years? Many, many years. I don't know if there's 30 on here or what. I'm not BSing here. So, all bases covered. That means spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, self-protection, protection of your family, survival, hunting, tracking, using weaponry, learning how to make a bow, learning how to use things like throwing sticks that are dead pieces of trees that break off just the right size to nail an animal. How to build a fire in front of your debris hut so that it reflects the energy back into the debris hut, warming you. Hell, you can live in 30-degree below temperature when it's snowing out if you know what you're doing and survive all day long. If you know enough, you can be dropped into the middle of the forest naked and come out smelling like a rose, okay? Or out into the desert, doesn't matter where. If you know what you're doing, if you know the basic needs that you'll have to, and the order of the basic needs that you will have to survive, the 4 basics, and I'm not going to teach them here because I charge for this, okay? But if you're in the Campfire Council, you might get it. You will be included in, although you will still be expected to make some kind of donation or contribution on some level. Now I'm going to start doing this stuff personally. Personal instruction from Thunder. Now if you're a woman or a man that wants this personal instruction, then I'm available. You call me up and I'll give you a price depending on what your finances are. But at the very least it will be expenses, lodging, food, so a little bit of spending money, and you can count on about a 2-week visit. And you won't be the same person that you were when I got there. I guarantee it. That's a guarantee. I'll put it in writing. And if you're not, if you haven't changed to the degree that you want to change to, then you're not paying attention. It's plain and simple. It's work, people. What I learned in 30 years or 40 years, and I throw at you, boom, like that, kind of like a shotgun approach. Throw everything at you all at once, and then we'll sort it out as we go along. But you're deep into it when I get done with you. ABC, all bases covered. You want all bases covered? Good to go. Kind of sounds militaristic, doesn't it? It's okay. Acronyms. Think like an Apache. You can call it that if you want to. Think like a warrior. Think like a spiritual and physical warrior. Be ready for anything. And have fun too. Guess what? When I say I teach everything, I teach everything. Kriya Yoga, I mentioned that. All kinds of different Hatha Yoga. But I combine it all together into one cohesive unit, okay? And I throw it at you all at once, all at once. And I change your energy field. Or it affects a change in your energy field. So these are things that you should know. And why do I say that you should know these things? Because there's going to come a time in your life when you're going to go, oh boy, I wish I knew those things now that I'm in this situation that I'm in. Or now that I see where this whole ball of wax concerning the environment and the world and whatever. Anything could happen at any time, just like I always say. Flashpoints and all this stuff. But if you just want to know this stuff for fun, just so you'll feel secure, there's nothing like feeling secure. There's nothing like walking down the street knowing that you can kick anybody's ass if they get heavy with you. Sorry, we're using just straight terminology here. Like it or leave it. Can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But if somebody means to do you harm, then you protect yourself, or you walk away if you can. See, that's the first rule, is walking away. It's always the first, the peaceful rule, the sword of no sword. Get out of there any way you can. But if you can't, say somebody's breaking in your house or whatever, then you should know these things. And if you don't, you're a target. Now it's okay to learn the spiritual and the meditation and just dig that. I can teach that too. But I don't think that completes the picture. That's just my personal opinion. You can take it or leave it. I know some people are just about love and light. That's cool. I love it. I love love. I love all forms of love. Let's talk about love for a minute. Because love to me is way beyond what people think it is. Love to me is putting the other person before yourself. Love to me is thinking about the other person. Love to me is laying your life down for the other person. It's not a light thing. It's not just light meaning, something you just blow off. Oh yeah, I love you. It's not just a saying. It's a proving. It's a showing it with action. How's that? And light, well, that comes from within you. But see, the reason that I throw these terms out sometimes like love and light and love you is because people use that in a non-reverential manner. You know, it's a cliche. It's a word. It's even a feeling. I'm just going to sit here and change the world with my thoughts. Well, you can change your world with your thoughts. You can change your surroundings. You can manifest things in your surroundings, but you're not going to change the whole friggin' world with your thoughts. I got news for you, because there's a lot of people that aren't thinking like you are. Now, if you can get 2/3 of the people on the planet to think like you are, yeah. But I got news for you. Go over to Somalia. Go over to North Korea. Go over to Haiti go over to get deployed off somewhere into some place and think that everybody's going to think the same kind of thoughts as you. Wake up, people. Now I'm not saying that there couldn't be a mass shift in consciousness on some level, somehow, some way. That's entirely possible. Hopefully that will happen. But we're just talking about basic and immediate learning things that are going to help you survive, help you live day to day, not just survive. We don't want to put it in the context of just surviving. We want to put it in the context of enjoying life. And with certain meditations and certain ways of reacting in this duality that we call life, and really getting to, this is really about getting in tune with nature on all levels, the natural and the supernatural. This is a belief system, a way of thinking. It's sacred in nature. And you think this is new? This isn't new. This is tribal, man. This is tribal. I got news for you. All kinds of tribes all around the earth. Well, let's just take the indigenous people of this nation, the Apache, the Lakota, okay, the Hopi, the Zuni, the Ute, I could go on all day. This is tribal thinking. So the beauty of it is that within the tribal thinking you have the warriorship, okay, which coincides with the warriorship of the East. Okay, and then you have the spirituality, which coincides with the spirituality of the East. That's why they call me the Native American Taoist sometimes. Native American spirituality and Taoist spirituality, Eastern philosophy. And when I say it can be fun, it can be fun. When you're learning how to track, when you're learning how to get 360-degree peripheral vision, when you're learning how to hear birds and animals and crickets and everywhere and know exactly where they are, when you're learning how to not be afraid to walk down the street anymore should somebody try to attack you, when you learn how to do all these things, life becomes more fun because you feel more secure. And you feel at peace within yourself because you know you are self-contained. All bases covered, good to go. That's what it's all about. It's shamanistic. It's tribal. Because it doesn't just include one section of like the martial arts or survival. It includes everything which any tribal person had to know. And believe me, some tribal people were way, way, way beyond the physical. They were definitely into the spiritual aspect. And I've mentioned this before, but people like Lozen with the Apache, who was Victorio's brother or sister, he was her brother. But she had special powers, and I've said this before, where she could tell where the enemy was coming just by holding out her arms and telling how many, what direction, blah blah blah. If that's not spiritual, I don't know what is. And Geronimo, or Goyathle, or one who yawns, actually stopped the sunrise for a couple of minutes so his band could escape. And that's documented, okay, by historians. Now, you can believe it or not believe it or whatever. So basically what I'm saying here is that I cover a lot of bases. In fact, if you go back into my archives and my videos, you'll hear a lot of these things already being taught to you. But being taught in person and being taught through a video are way two different things, okay? Believe me. Because you're not going to get that what they call transmission. The yogis call it transmission of energy from a master, okay? And master means nothing more than somebody who has mastered a certain thing, whether it be yoga or Chinese meditation, Taoist meditation, tracking and survival techniques, oneness with the spirit that moves in all things, whatever you want to call it. If you have mastered it, then you're a master. If you've been in it for years and years and years, you're considered a master. And you know how you know when you're a master is when you go up to somebody and they don't know any of this stuff. And it's like they start off where they got two left feet, or they're just not coordinated at all, or they have no concept of what you're talking about. That's when you realize how far you've come. So basically this video is about what I teach and what the Campfire Council, the organization, the nonprofit charitable organization, sacred organization that I represent, teaches in a quote-unquote religious manner, religious meaning devoted to, or belief system, or sacred, because life is sacred and we have to walk on this planet like it is. And you know, the animals know all these things. Survival and how to defend themselves and how to hide and how to camouflage and how to build and forage and hide and hunt and predator and prey. And so you look at nature and you adapt to it on all levels. Now, like I said, depending on your financial resources, I will teach you this stuff. You just call me up or email me. And I charge. Okay? Depending on the situation. If it's just an outright, I'll pay you money for what you know, then it's going to be about $1,000 a week for this. But if it's a thing where you really want to learn about it and, then it's food, lodging, it's a sliding scale. It's depending upon your circumstances type thing, which I think is very generous of me. I don't want to waste my time, and I want to be compensated for my time. And since I represent the Campfire Council, that's where it's going to go. Anything that I make. Or if I come to teach you something, then it's going to be because you want to be a part of the Campfire Council in a certain sense. You don't have to be, but why not? As long as you're learning all this stuff, why not belong to a group of other people that know it too, that can help each other? Get my drift here? So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there today. And I think I'm going to name this video ABC. All bases covered. Good to go. You're good to go. Another thing, when I was talking about fun that I'll touch on here, and some people find this touchy, too bad. I teach Tantra too, which has to do with exchanging energy between a male and a female or a relationship, while you're in the act of uh, making love or, you know, cohabitating or sexual union, how's that? Yoga union, sexual union with your partner. I can teach you how to use the energy between you to raise your consciousness. That's fun. Anything that I teach takes you out of the ordinary realm and is in a sacred realm. So it's no longer, considered from a societal level as this is naughty or nice or this is this or that. It's considered just sacred, period, because that's what it is. Everything is sacred, everything is spiritual if you make it that way. These are things to think about, because if you're just plodding along in life not knowing this stuff, man, I feel sorry for you. Really do. Because you're not enjoying life, really. You're not joyful, quote unquote. You're miserable, really. If you only knew. Got a book called Emergence, and my twin soul and I go, if they only knew what they're missing. If they only knew. Really. That book is called Emergence, by the way. And I have another book called Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart by Divine Arts Press. You can buy these books at the website listed below, campfirecouncil.com. You can contact me through there. Read the statement of purpose about Campfire Council, and I think there's a thing that's going to pop up like right here. I'll make it pop up right there, I promise. And if it's not there, well, then it's down below, the link. Newsletter on the site, resources, how to get my books, how to join up, how to get a hold of me by Gmail, donations, okay, tax deductible, because this is a charitable organization. Religious charitable, that's the heading that we had come under with the government. So think about it. Think about joining up. Think about filling out the newsletter. Think about being with some people that really know what's going on. Good to go. All bases covered. Then you don't worry about all this crap that you hear all over the news and everywhere about what if the financial system crashes, or what if there's the cities go down, or what if, yeah, that very well could happen. I've spoken on that extensively. What if, what if? Well, instead of, getting fear and anxiety over it, if you got your bases covered, you won't have fear and anxiety. If you have other like-minded individuals that you can contact as brothers and sisters in unification, unified, units, tribal, spiritual, sacred. We live on the planet, so we must be planetary. We must be 1 foot in the physical world and 1 foot in the spiritual world. Okay, I'm going to end it there today. Just want everybody out there to know that I love you and care about my fellow man, and offer my blessings to you, and peace be unto you. Namaste. May you walk the red road. And until I see you again, this is Thunder. Over and out.